If you want to learn to done read good, you've come to the right place.
A better you starts today.
So, you want to know how to read, do you? Well, you should probably contact the Reading Writing Hotline. This is for people that already know how to read. Just before you click off, you're stupid. And you should probably never try in life, ever. Everyone else liked this just to make fun of this hypothetical person. See all those likes? They're people that hate you. All right, so now that everybody else is here, let's begin the class, shall we? This is pretty much all I need you to know about reading, first off. First off, it should never be a chore, ever. Reading should be as exciting to you, more so, than going on the internet. First off, because you should get this feeling of satisfaction every time you read for the first hour of your day. That is Friendly Geordie's medicine tip number 1. And I'm fully qualified to give out medicine tips, by the way, in certain African countries where you just have this stadium of people around this clearly fat, bald guy that's obviously some snake oil salesman being like, this is lemon juice and diesel. Put this on you, it will cure your cancer, your head getting blown off, anything. It will cure everything. That is me. Yeah? Same level of qualifications as that. Call me doctor. Here's my thing. Here's my recommended daily dose to you. 1 hour a day. You have to be reading 1 hour a day in your field, or at the very least, just reading so you keep the habit up. Every time you let a month pass by where you don't read, you will seriously regret that, because think about that. That is another 30 hours that you have of getting all these ideas of how to progress in whatever you want to progress in life, because it has all been written down before. Whatever you are looking for, people have been writing about it since ancient Egypt. They've just been upgrading it, so you're just being like, this seems like a very inefficient way of writing. That's all that's happening. So you need to be reading in these fields, because there is always, and this is incredible and it happens all the time to me, there's one idea that will make you so much more money than you were originally making, and you'd never know where that idea is, so you've got to keep reading, because somewhere amidst it all, you'll just be like, then you just, you keep nodding like that and short-circuiting like a very stupid robot, and then you start implementing it in your life, and you reap the rewards, but you only get that from reading. Yeah, so it's never going to be replaced. When people always say, what about podcasts? Podcasts, come on. Have you ever found anything in a podcast that you actually got value out of in your life? Look at all the people that defensively write that. So, I meant to say that. That was to just trigger comments. Honestly, yes, there are some podcasts that I've come across that are very informative, but in terms of substantively changing my life, I'm telling you, there is no substitute for whatever the field is. For instance, best podcast that I've ever come across, I interviewed the guy because I was just such a huge fan of him. I was like too much of a fan. He was clearly creeped out by me, and fair enough. Should be scary at the best of times. But if you're just like me, just sitting there just being like, what makes you so great for an hour? But he's amazing. I love him. He does the history of Byzantium. It is the best podcast that I've ever come across. He is an incredible storyteller. Very thoroughly researched. But I'll tell you what, I get more information out of the books. It's nowhere near as entertaining. It's nowhere near as memorable in my head. But it's just kind of like, he's just sitting there being like, here you go, here's some carbonized water with a bit of hint of Coke in there for you to get it down. And then that is just like, fire hydrant, if that water you want, cunt. That's the difference. Yeah? So you do need to be reading. And the way that you do read, and this is extremely important, because most people just don't do this. Most people just assume that it's supposed to be this chore. You never want anything ever that you need to do in life to be a chore. That should not be even close to a consideration, because even with just a few tweaks to the way that you are either thinking about it or the activities that you are doing around it, you can make anything in life pleasurable. Anything. Even masturbating. You can get it all, right? You can make anything pleasurable. Like I'm telling you right now, read, jerk off. Instantly solved. You'll be like, oh, I'm going to read now. That's definitely going to happen. Yeah? So when you are coupling in with anything, so for instance, recently, I've really gotten into a massage chair. So I got one of those. And now every time I read, just for an hour. How awesome is that? It's like, going to many of those places that rub you off. And instead of paying $150 for it, I paid considerably more than that. It's probably a rip-off. But the point is, it's convenient, damn it. And so I am sitting there and I'm reading, and so the whole thing is just very enjoyable for many reasons. Yeah? And then the other thing that I need you to do, first off, is just you need to figure out a way to make it enjoyable. So whatever activity that you can do while reading to make it enjoyable, do it. If there's like a favorite place that you like to sit, this is all just about giving this nice little like, as opposed to just sitting on the internet and wasting your time. Think about that. You probably waste, I think, on average, the average teenager in America now spends, I think, up to 8 hours a day on the internet. That's not including school time. So it's just school, internet. That's most of fucking... Someone's got to give. If you could just wrangle back an hour of that, could you imagine the productivity increases, right? So what you want to be doing when you get into this reading mode is, first off, you want to be selecting things that are important to you. But, and here's the big but. You ever heard of a Kindle? That's an amazing invention. Because if you are bored about the thing that you are doing, doesn't matter. You want to be getting into the habit of reading for an hour. So you immediately switch to, yay, I get to read Harry Potter now. That is what anyone who is always a prolific reader, you'll go to their house, what do they have? Just bookshelves of books. And you're like, yeah, you probably haven't read any of them. But then if you think about it, if you go to like a house like John Barilara's, it's filled with DVDs, he's just like, fuck yes, I watched Fast and the Furious 2 twice, bros. And so that's the difference, right? Like, you know, Fast and the Furious takes 2.5 hours. It's not that much different to read the book. But what they do to keep themselves stimulated throughout that hour is they switch books. They switch books every time they're bored, because the point is to keep the momentum up. Reading can be far more exciting than just whatever blog posts you're looking at or TikTok that you're watching on the internet. It doesn't give you that feeling at the end. In the end, you get this kind of, at the very least, sort of almost the same as meditation, that nice clean feel. You get that out of it at the bare minimum. So what you want to be doing is having a bunch of different books that you might find interesting or important at your disposal at any time. And I give you full permission to be whatever those are, because the point is to just make it fun. Make the activity enjoyable so that it becomes very enjoyable very quickly, because it immediately just switches from quantum mechanics is all right. Oh, yay, I'm a pirate now. Yay! That can happen. You can set up your reading habits so that is the feeling that is elicited every time that you go into it. Just a yay. Most of this channel is just moving you towards things that you should be doing and giving you this feeling of, I can't wait to do it either. That's what I'm trying to get you out of. I'm trying to get you out of a passive mode and into an active mode. And the way that we do this is link good experiences together. So that is the first thing that I want you to do. I want you to think of a way to make your reading time more enjoyable. How are you going to do that? Because the way that I do it, I've set my life up perfectly. I love looking at fish. It calms me. I like sitting on massage chairs because, let's be honest, I'm not that far away from being one of those dads that sits there and watches the NFL Super Bowl, right? Like, that should just be like, pass it. I would have done that if I was there. That's me. I'm getting to that stage. So those two things, and then I just sit there with the fish in the background being like, it's the most relaxing time of my life. And the whole time I'm absorbing information, and I wouldn't rather be doing anything else. So I don't even click off. Even when I have to read off of the internet. Some boring parliamentary report that I have to go through. It's the time of my life. It is the best hour of my day now. You can do the same. You can absolutely make it the best hour of your day. How are you going to do it? Let me know in the comments. That's the first thing. The second one is you are going to be reading many books at once. You don't have to be reading one. All right, so if you want more tips like that, make sure that you sign up to Jordan Shanks. The reason that you should be signing up to Jordan Shanks is because I am like that Byzantine podcast that I was talking about before, except I don't put anywhere near as much effort into it. However, you also be getting something that, admittedly, and this breaks my heart a lot, is a little more important than an empire that wrongfully was taken by the Ottomans. But anyway, we'll talk about that another time on a different channel. I'm doing a stand-up show about it, by the way, so you're going to be listening to it whether you like it or not. But you should be signing up to Jordan Shanks because there is value in it. The amount of value that you get in return is crazy that I'm giving it to you at such low prices. But seriously, you should sign up. You'll be getting a far better life coach. You will be getting paid for something that costs like, some of these cunts charge like $250 an hour. Now, some of them might be actually worth it. And again, I'm always doing this as a shout out. Can you please let me know which ones those are? Because I want him, damn it. But if you, you know this about anything when you go to anything. Like if you have a good tennis coach, you're going to be better at tennis. I know people that get those top of the line acting coaches because they can afford them. And that's how they get into movies. It's got nothing to do with connections. It's just that they have someone there that knows how to teach people how to act. And so they get the roles. So it is exactly the same with self-help. It is exactly like if you, that is just one sector of your life. Give yourself someone that knows the tools of how to get you through your life in general. So everything, just the basics of life, those 4 building blocks that we're always talking about. Well, it's actually 5, but relationships, health, when we're talking about jobs, when we're talking about money in general, all of those things, these are what life coaches are just like, are you focusing on that stuff? It's just pretty much just that. Are you focusing on it or not? Anyway, you know the drill. Sign up to Jordan Shanks and get reading.